Yeah, boy.
All right, what's going on, man?
What's happening? We finally made it happen.
Finally,
What,
after how long?
a month or two, maybe,
Dude,
and then the
things just
last 20
kept
minutes
coming
today.
up and finally here.
Right?
So how's it going?
Pretty good. I can't complain. I'm an author now.
I was about to say, how's it feel to be in the top 40?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, if if you'd have told me before I had ever made an album or a book, which is easier, I'd have been like, yeah, writing a book. You write up, just get the words down on a page, and then it gets published. The print press takes over, and that's that. Making music is what's hard. And bro, once I had just the writing of the book was a bitch. You know what I mean? Getting all the ideas
Right.
in order and everything. But once it was done, that was the easy part. Getting it formatted and edited, and you know what I mean? And I'm still finding little typos here and there. You know what I'm saying? Shit that I want to change, and you know what I mean? So, but yeah, like it's hard work. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
without my wife, I would be screwed. If it had been on me to format it, I'd have had to pay somebody else to do it.
Right. That's how I would be.
Yeah. I'm a creator. I'm an artist. Let me create, and you do the technical stuff.
The funny thing, the book I got was printed in Capel, Texas, which
Mm-hmm.
is maybe about 45 minutes away from me.
Right.
And it left DFW to come right back.
Yeah. They send it to Oklahoma City. Where do they send it to?
Oh man, I don't know. I want to say it was just some town right outside of DFW.
All right.
And I'm like, why would you even send it out of DFW? I mean, you can just send it down the highway
Send
a few
one person
miles.
out. Send Bill up the street.
I mean, if I'm gonna do your planning your routes, I'm gonna have you go to the closest one. It's gonna be
Right.
from like, okay, well, we're printing it here. There's one right down the highway, and we're gonna go to him.
Let's just drop off one copy on the way. What's crazy is I bought at the same time it went live and everybody started getting, being able to have it delivered from Amazon. I put my order in for my author copies, and so it's been 2 whole solid weeks, and I just got them today. So people started getting them. Like, I think it went live on like a Wednesday or Thursday, and by that Saturday, everybody was getting their copies. And 2 weeks later, I'm just now getting my hand-to-hand copies that I'm able to sell. So I'm like, I don't know why I'm printing up, a bunch at once was taking more than one at a time to all these other people. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I got them now. You know what I mean? So
what's an author copy?
the copy that they send to the authors at a cheaper rate. Like, it's not got my cut in it, and you know what I'm saying. I think they take some of the fees out and send it to me at the reduced rate or whatever.
Okay, well I didn't even know they did that. That's pretty damn awesome.
Yeah. It's all print on demand. It's kind of like Kunaki back in the day. I don't know who some of the watchers will probably remember Kunaki. You print up your CDs one at a time. You say, here's the link, and they don't press up 20 or 30 or 100 or whatever. They're on demand as they come in, one at a time. So
right.
It allows you to do it independently, and saves the company money and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a way to cut out the middleman.
Right.
But I mean, it's not feasible for multiple copies, like a ton.
Right.
Because then it'll get expensive.
Right, for sure. Like, with this works, this little print on demand situation works for what I got right now. Because honestly, realistically, the people that are going to buy this book are the same people that would buy my albums. You know what I'm saying? Kind of the same fan base, people that are around the scene. You know what I'm saying? Maybe people that grew up with me just for the novelty of, oh, he wrote a book, or oh, he wrote an album. Let me go check that out.
Right.
But eventually, I'm writing. My next book is about 2/3 the first copy. The rough draft is about 2/3 done. I've got an idea for after that. So
nice.
The ball's going to keep going. And at some point, I'm probably actually going to try to go big and maybe get like a literary agent, and you know what I'm saying, try to get a deal and go the Stephen King route, or what have you.
That's the way it needs to go.
Right.
Once
you know what I mean?
Get a few under your belt, be like, boom, boom. Okay, got them done. I know what I'm doing now.
What's really weird is all of, the two fiction ideas that I'm working on now, and then the preliminary ideas that I got are all coming together in novel form. You know what I'm saying? So I'm writing a book. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I see every idea is eventually I'm looking at like, oh, this is a movie. This could be a TV series. This could be a Netflix thing. This is an animated thing. You know what I mean? Like, so it's in book form, but I see selling the rights to an actual screenwriter or a studio or something down the line possibly. That's something that's on my radar as well.
I mean, with a book, it always happens like that. I mean, Forrest Gump, dude,
Right.
Anything could happen. Dude,
Right.
Your book, the novella could even be turned into a movie,
Let's do that. Somebody out there with the wherewithal and the means to do that, holler at me. Who's going to play Big Slack? Who's going to play young Big Slack?
Gotta find someone that nobody knows. That way they can't judge them.
like that guy that played Biggie in the Notorious Big movie. He sounded just like Biggie, but nobody knew who he was up until
exactly.
then.
All they did was just do a little makeup magic, just very little, and boom, he transformed into Biggie.
Yep. Did the voice? He had the little voice going for him.
Right. I mean, it was even cool that they even put him in the Tupac movie.
Yeah. That was real cool. Like crossover.
It would have been better if they used the same Tupac though.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Tupac movie, like, I don't want to get no Tupac versus Biggie, but the Tupac movie was really bad. Did not like the Tupac movie.
I wasn't a fan. I watched the Biggie one way more.
Yeah, me too. Same. Yeah, same.
I mean, I guess because it's more entertaining. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I have to say, out of all of them, it's been this Straight Outta Compton one I've seen more of.
Oh, yeah. That was the best. Yeah. I love Straight Outta Compton. Right.
I mean, I remember when all that shit was going down in that movie.
Yeah. I can remember being a kid and watching like Coal Miner's Daughter or like movies about musicians from before my time. And, my parents would get the little references, or I remember when she released this album or whatever. And so now watching the, the Biggie movie and the NWA movie and whatever, it's like, I remember I bought that album. I was there, whatever.
Right. Or like at the end when the funeral procession's going by and all of a sudden they play the music, that's actual footage.
Yeah, the real footage. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I remember watching that live.
Right. Yep. Yeah, they use that in his music video. That footage, that's famous footage. That's been out there. Huh?
Oh yeah. So, what was it like growing up in Oklahoma?
I tell people a lot that Oklahoma City is a lot like Oklahoma City is like Dallas Jr. a lot. It's the same type of you know what I'm saying, like social climate, the same type of people. We're just smaller. You know what I mean? But when you get outside of Oklahoma City or Tulsa, it turns into Mayberry hillbillies and the fucking Oklahoma stereotypes you hear about. You know what I'm saying? So the first part of my life, I grew up in the suburbs of Oklahoma City. You know what I'm saying? Until I was about 10 years old. Then we moved out to the country. So I got, you know what I'm saying? I got a good, healthy dose of both. That country stuff and then the city stuff as well.
I know exactly how that is.
Yeah.
I mean, I was born in Dallas. Okay. Downtown Dallas, actually. But I had family out in the country that like literally they owned 3/4 of Bristol, Texas at one point, and they had cattle on all of it.
Yeah.
So during the summers, I'd go out and help them out. So I know exactly what that's like.
You see both ends of it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's the it's really, you can get, Oklahoma City especially is really weird. You can, buy crack and get shot by a gangbanger and then literally drive 20 minutes away and be in a field with a cow. You know what I mean? Like on the outskirts of the city. You know what I mean? It's that weird.
I've actually been into a few places like that. Not too many. Well, of course, Oklahoma, but other than Oklahoma.
Right.
Like Baltimore, there's once you get to the outside of the city, about 20, 30 minutes, you're in country.
Right.
Once you leave
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
On The Wire, the movie was about, the show The Wire was about, it's set in Baltimore, and they of course they're selling crack and gangbanging and all that kind of stuff. And then they'd have horses like right in the middle. They'd have a horse come by or whatever. They had a stable full of horses right in the middle of the ghetto. Like that's interesting.
Yeah, it was some weird shit that I saw when I lived up there. So
you lived in Baltimore?
No, I lived about 45 minutes away from Baltimore. No, it was probably about 55. Yeah, it's closer to 55 minutes away from Baltimore. I lived in a town called New Windsor. That motherfucker was like a circle, a little bitty ass circle. There was like, I think the town was 125 people.
Damn.
Yeah, the bar, dude. Okay, so when I was living there, I was going through a breakup with my kid's parents or mom. Okay, and so I lived right next to a bar. That bar became my good friend. But when I say good friend, they would see me walk in and have my drink ready when I get to the bar.
The usual.
Exactly. And that was also my first experience of ordering something and taking it out and going right back home next door.
Right.
I was like, this is weird. Can't do this in Texas.
Yeah, they don't do that in the South. They
Right.
they can get you for anything they can down here.
They do now, I mean, because of what happened, but I mean, it was just fucking weird because that was the weirdest experience, but I needed it at that time. Ooh,
Right.
Man.
Well, here, I got a question for you. You was asking, like, what's it like in Oklahoma, or what was it like growing up in Oklahoma? Like right now with you guys, what's it like seeing us have medical marijuana? Because I see a bunch of people like, oh, Oklahoma's blah, 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 but they got medical marijuana. Does it improve our status in the eyes of Texas at all, or are we still just, hold on, hillbillies, but we got weed now?
Probably most of them here think that. A whole bunch of hillbillies with their weed finally got illegal. Yeah. They're growing it in their farms, but now they don't have to.
Right.
No, but I'm actually jealous.
Right. There's zero reason why it shouldn't be, accessible ever. The country itself, other than it's still federally illegal, is doing everything it can to, legalize it. It's, it's the privatized prisons and all that stuff, making money off of the way it is now. They don't want to give up the stranglehold on it,
Right. Especially our governor. He said he'll never let it get legalized.
Right.
But of course, our governor is a whole nother story I'm not going to get on, because he started off as head over my child support case. I'm like, fuck that guy.
Oh, so before he was the governor?
Yeah. So I have bad blood with him already.
And now he's out here fucking up y'all's power grid.
Right. So how old were you when you got into the Juggalo lifestyle?
Let's see. I was late teens. But my brother's 2 years behind me. So it was probably 97. I just graduated high school. Now that I'm putting the timeline together, I just graduated high school when Malenko came out. And like if you read the book, it was me and my brother kind of found it, found ICP, and we would listen to it, so the people around us would get exposed to it, but it didn't click with them like it clicked with us. We were Juggalos instantly. We didn't call ourselves that. Before we were calling ourselves Juggalos. It wasn't, you would hear the word Juggalo in the music, but it wasn't like a cool thing to be like, man, we're Juggalos. It was still like, we don't even really know what a Juggalo is, but this Malenko album is banging. This Riddlebox album is, banging, But I remember my brother being a couple years behind me, and there was one kid that he went to school with that got it too. And he actually bought the documentary on VHS and brought it over to us. So like the three of us were like the little Juggalo crew. We knew nobody except each other. So when we find out some little tidbit of information through, Fago lovers or real Juggalos or whatever, we'd be like, oh, did you hear this? You hear about that?
Yeah, I remember back in the day.
Yeah, early internet days when there was barely an internet.
Right. I remember going into chat rooms on Yahoo and AOL and saying, I'm a Juggalo. And they're like, you mean Gigolo? I'm like, no, Juggalo.
Yep. I had the same conversation multiple times. I'd say the word Juggalo and they'd be like, Gigolo? No, bro.
Dude, you probably know, I got them just as much as you did probably. Dude, it was crazy. And it was weird because like when I moved to Baltimore or up to Maryland, it was hard. The only people I became friends with were Juggalos, and they found out we became friends because I was working at Hot Topic wearing Juggalo shit.
Right.
But that's all I'm going to say about them because bad blood came in between.
Uh-oh. That is the one thing about I've noticed that about Juggalos. Juggalo, the type of person that the Juggalo scene will attract coolest motherfuckers in the world, and also the grimiest, shitty. You know what I mean? Like, it's a way bigger ratio with the good people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
3/4 of everybody Juggalo that I've ever met is a excellent human being. But there's always those ones that, you know what I mean? It's like, for whatever reason, you know what I mean? It's like, why are you so grimy? You know?
Right. In a way, I can kind of understand why they did what they did. I mean, I kind of fucked some guy's eye up, like shot it out with a BB.
So I can see why they were mad. I shot
it was a straight up accident. Like, I mean, they even knew it was an accident. I went and got the kid's mom. I gave him my car keys. You know, I was like, I'm probably going to jail. Y'all are going to need a ride home. Take my car, you know? And then I went to jail, you know, and they had my car. I went to jail because they pressed charges. You know, I can kind of understand it, but, you know, that. But then, like 2 weeks after that, no, 2 weeks after I moved back down here, I was told, hey, they had put a hit out on you.
Oh, shit.
Fast forward, I become friends with G-Dub. He's like, wait a minute. Like, after weeks of hanging out, he's like, wait a minute. Loki. Dude, I was supposed to beat your ass.
Oh, shit.
They tried to hire him to beat my ass.
So through some Juggalo network, he found like a Juggalo G-Dub in your area and tried to hire him or whatever. It's kind of what happened.
Right.
Wow.
I'm like, dude, that's some fucking crazy shit. And me and G-Dub clicked over a mini gathering, and I told him how I used to own the domain DallasJuggalos.com.
Right.
And then ever since then, we just started kicking it.
Is that whatever happened to that? Is that just went by the wayside, or Dallas
pretty much? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everything started going to more the, what was it? It was falling behind anyways with Real Juggalos, Fago Lovers, and American Juggalos and all that. So it pretty much just crumbled and just would post about mini gatherings in the area and stuff like that. And we'd talk about that. But what was your first exposure to rap? Do you remember your very first exposure to rap?
Yep. I lived. I looked at the timeline about when this particular song came out, and it seemed, in my mind, I was younger than I was, apparently. But I was about 6 or 7 years old. It seems like I was way younger. Maybe the kids were just enough older than me that I felt younger. But at the end of the road, there was a basketball court, and some kids, you know what I'm saying, teenage kids that gathered to play basketball, and they were listening to 2 Live Crew. Everybody say, hey, we want some pussy. And I didn't know what we want some pussy means. I just sounded cool as shit. They was chanting on the song. Some of the kids playing ball were singing it. And I remember the music, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, what is this? Doesn't sound like Huey Lewis in the News that we listen to at the house, you know, or whatever, you know what I mean? And you know, and then as I began to get exposed, every time I would hear rap or something after that, I'd be like, oh, this is what the kids were listening to that day at the park, you know what I mean? And like, you know, I didn't know it was called rap or hip hop. It was just, that sounds different. That music sounds different than I'm used to, you know? And then every time I heard it, you know, until it became second nature to me, it would get my attention. I'd be like, oh, what is that? Oh, this movie, or, oh, you know, this cat's break dancing over here. What is that? You know, it has always clicked with me like, you know, no other little really subcultures or genres of music ever really did, you know?
I remember, I want to say the first one I heard was DJ Rob Bass and Easy Rock.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It Takes Two.
It Takes Two.
And that was also the first one I scratched to. Before I realized you have to have like a little slip mat underneath.
Oh, so you scratched on your dad's real shit. Yeah.
No, I was actually my stepbrothers.
Right.
So I fucked his shit up.
Did you get punched over that?
No, he didn't know what the fuck happened. I just played stupid.
Oh, yeah, I've never seen that in my life.
I don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah, I remember my dad making it. I don't remember how it came up, but, you know, my dad had turntables back in the day, actual turntables, not like DJ turntables, you know,
right.
Play albums on. And I remember him, I don't remember if I asked him, can I do the thing that I've seen on TV? Can I do that? I don't know if I asked or what, but I remember him making it clear under no circumstances do you do that on this record. Like, that is not for this. And I was like, okay. I don't want to
I
get beat with
remember
nothing.
that.
Yeah,
I remember when I got my stack from my parents. It had one on there, and I got that same lecture.
Right.
Do not scratch on
do not
this.
wiki this.
This is not one of those turntables. You just let it play.
This is not that.
So, like the first time you got on stage, do you remember the first time you ever got on stage? Like the feeling before and compared to the feeling after?
Okay, so there's the I kind of eased into it. I was on stage kind of partially a few times. Like if you read the book, you'll find out I ran into some juggalos who also rapped, but they did really bad juggalo, really bad rap.
Right.
So I kind of started with them, you know what I mean? And we would do house parties. So technically this is on stage. There'd be 10 or 12 people in there that I didn't really know, or more, sometimes 20 or whatever. And it'd be a house party and I would just be rapping. We would perform our music. But it's like doing that with a safety net. It's, you know what I mean? If we're rapping juggalo music for juggalos, if it's bad, it don't matter. You know what I mean? Like we're all just kind of hanging out anyway. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then shortly thereafter, with the same group, with the same batch of bad music, the Green Book, Twisted Green Book came out, and they did a midnight opening, a midnight selling of the album, whatever it was.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, a little CD play, a little record shop, and we had just a PA system, a speaker with some mics plugged into it, and we performed out there for a bunch of juggalos we didn't know that didn't show up at our house to see, that knew us or anything. So. But it was kind of the same thing. Like, this is really bad, but it's still, we're juggalos amongst other juggalos, so it don't really matter that it's bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think the first time I ever got on a stage in a situation where there was a flyer and, what I'm saying, charging at the door and all that, was a place called Tin Pin Bazaar, and it used to be a flea market that they had turned into a venue.
Okay.
And it went over, like, every time I would rap for people, I would be, I just had a natural talent for it. You know what I mean? And then once I realized I could do it, I started trying. I would fill up notebooks. You know what I mean? So then I started getting good, like shooting a basketball or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
So every time I would rap at those house parties or those little shitty parking lot shows or whatever, people would come up to me and be like, bro, like, whatever with the other guys, but bro, you can really rap. Or when I would rap, there would be the audience would respond differently. So I just, and I always took that, that always felt good, but I was always like, yeah, but these are still just juggalos or people that I kind of know or whatever. But at this Pin Tin Bazaar show, there were people that I had never seen in my life. You know what I'm saying? I've just bought a ticket to be there because they knew one of the other acts on the show or what have you. And it was the same reaction. I was like, oh shit, like this could be a thing, outside of the juggalo world, not just a novelty for, I'm juggalo rapping for my juggalo friends. I could be a real rapper for the world, right? Whatever, you know what I mean? I think that Pin Tin Bazaar show was probably the first time I ever was like, oh shit, for real. Like, this could be for real, for real.
What was it like? I mean, like the feelings right before you took the stage, were you nervous or whatever?
Not really. Like, I don't know if it was, naivety that I was just like, oh, this is going to be fun. I can't wait to do it. Not realizing if you go out there and fuck up, they're all going to laugh at you. Maybe I just put blinders on and was so excited to do it. I didn't think about the negative side of it, but not really. I remember in the early days, I would psych myself up. I would go over to the side, because at the end of the day, rapping is a character. Clay is a lot different than Big Slack. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of go over and tell myself in my head, you're Big Slack now. You're the guy on the music. Chicks want you, and you know what I'm saying, and all that shit. You know what I'm saying, the bravado and all that. I would pipe that up in my head a few minutes before I went on stage. But I don't ever really remember being nervous, like people think. Like, I'm way more nervous for this conversation, you know what I'm saying, than I was. Just talking to people is way more frightening. Even you and people that I know about shit that I know, is way more frightening to me than getting on stage and rapping. Now, at this point in my life, 40-year-old stoner brain, I can't remember shit. So if I was to get on stage now, I would definitely be nervous. I'd practice my ass off and still be nervous that I was going to get on stage and blank out. You know what I mean? But back then, I didn't get that. I was just like, let's go. It's time. It's game time. Let's do it.
So was it the same feeling when you got off stage for the very first time on that 10-pin one? Or was it just like, oh man, that's exactly what I need to do?
Yeah, it's both. It's it carries over. If you do well, you know, you feel it's the adrenaline and all that stuff, and you get off stage, and then normally you go to your merch booth, or people want to talk to you, or the acts backstage, be like, bro, man, what the hell? They don't want to talk to you. So that adrenaline keeps going, you know what I mean? So it's, you know, when you get off stage, you know, and you start coming down from the adrenaline, and people are still co-signing, you know, the performance, and you're like, this is what I need to do. I'm in the right place. This is what I need to be doing with my life, you know.
Right.
Very few times have I ever had that too. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what a job I work or social settings or whatever, I always kind of feel out of place. You know what I mean?
Right.
But once put a mic in my hand, as Big Slack on stage, and I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. Or even just by myself writing rhymes, or even today, right now, when I'm, you know, on my computer writing, you know, material for my books or whatever, I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? That sounds corny, but you know what I'm saying? It's like the universe saying, this is right. If I go clock in at Payless shoe stores or whatever because I got bills to pay, it's like, I'm here because I got to be. But it ain't the universe telling me this is what you're supposed to be doing right now. You know what I'm saying? I know that
exactly what you mean. Dude, like when I get into my writing, when I'm just writing, and especially when I get into that zone, right. It's just like there's been times where I've just gotten into a zone and I've pounded out like up to 15 pages.
Right.
I'm like, dude,
you just look up and go, oh shit.
Yeah. Or like when I'm editing, I'm like, and then I look up, I'm like, shit, what happened to the time? It's been 4 hours.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I mean, and then when I'm like out working, I'm like, dude, I don't want to be here.
Yep.
I'd just rather be at home doing something like that.
Creating anything other than being here. Yeah.
Exactly. Like right now, I'm still learning the editing stuff. So I'm taking Ice-T video because before I go into this, what made me go to this was, did you see the McNasty video I just threw together and put it on Instagram? It was right the one of Sammy and Angel.
Yeah.
I put that together. And I was like, you know what? That's pretty cool. I'm going to do like an actual video from something else. And I started thinking what? And I was like, dude, let me do Civil War, Captain America Civil War, but do it over Ice-T colors.
Cool.
And so I'm working on that right now. And so I'm trying to make it to where in the video where it had the part of the movies, it's got part of the movie still, but from Captain America Civil War.
Sweet.
But it's still got like Ice-T in the music right. And all that.
Right. So
I'm still working on it because they did like some projection stuff on his face. That makes it really hard to cover up.
Yeah. That extra stuff. Yeah, I bet that
right.
that is a bitch.
Like if it was just something like in the background, I could probably just throw up there. It'd be easier. But right. When it's like projected on his face and it's got the shadows from the projection, I'm like, fuck. Like I wish I had the skill.
Glasses. I wish I had the patience to sit down and do editing. I wish that was a skill that I had. Video editing. I wish that was a skill that I had. I mean, I could just sit down and do it, but you know what I'm saying? I got so many other things I need to spend my time on, you know.
Dude, there's so much to it. Wait,
yeah.
Dude, I'm still learning. Like the program I use, you can do graphics, you could do sound effects, you could do like motion graphics and CGI. It's like what they use in the industry.
Right. Yeah.
Like Deadpool 2 was color graded on it.
Wow. Yeah, it's like, you know, same with the music. You can record, you know, fully studio quality stuff on your phone now. Mix, master, right. All of that right on your phone if you got the right, you know, software. It's crazy.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that this program that I use, they give a free copy of it, and like 75% of it is able to be used.
Man.
So I'm using the free copy at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm learning, and I'm not trying to get any editing business because I'm still learning.
Right.
But as soon as I'm like, okay, I think I've got enough to do something, I'm going to get me that full copy though.
Right.
Because there's like stuff I want to do. I'm like, I need the full copy, but I can't do that.
Right. When I first started learning how to mix music, I started on Audacity. which I don't know how much you know about, which is just
I know that.
free. You know what I mean? It's just a sequencer, basically. It just allows you to record the audio. You know what I mean? And so I started getting, and it's free because I was like, I'm just starting with something free because I may be in over my head here. You know, so I started getting plugins. You know, different tools that you can use to, you know, around that you know, free software. And before you know it, I'm still using Audacity, but I got so many plugins and I know how to use those plugins. I was like, I don't want to pay for the, you know, I'm gonna keep using this free version with all my plugins because yeah, I can upgrade to, you know, something else, but then I got to start from scratch and relearn the whole program. And so yeah, I did that same thing. It's like, I'm just going to start here, just learn, get my feet wet. And then I started running with it. You know, I got used to it, just never left it. You know what I mean? So
right. The very first podcast I did, which was about movies, called The Whole Picture, I used Odyssey to record it.
Yeah.
So I know exactly how that
it's
is.
free. Yeah.
That was the main factor. It's free. It's recording because I didn't know what to record on.
Right.
Right. You know, so I'm like, what the fuck? So, but now with my podcast, I mean, Zoom helped most of it. Like, but eventually I want to get like a studio to where I have people actually come over and be in a studio.
Do
and
like
have,
the Joe Rogan thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Something like that. But also I got to get guests. Nobody really knows who I am. They're like, I'm not going to go on your podcast. You got like 6 followers. I mean,
right. That's not worth my time.
Exactly. So, and I mean, I get it. So I don't get mad at him. Like, I talked to somebody and he was like, oh yeah. I'll do it. Definitely. Thanks for thinking of me. Then I guess he looks at my page and then he just ghosts me. I'm like, that motherfucker.
2 years from now, you'll be on and popping, and he'll come to you like, "Hey, can I be on your podcast?"
And I'll be like, I don't know. Let me get back to you.
I don't know you. How many followers do you have?
Right.
Here's what I was going to ask you. You've written scripts before, like in movies or shows in script format. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that okay? So here's what happened. I got an idea, and it came to me in sitcom, form. And I don't know how to write a sitcom. So I'm like, I can probably figure out how to write a script, though. So I start trying to, figure out how to do a sitcom script. And they all said, if you have an idea, and this is the first script you've ever wrote, don't write your idea first. Do a faux script for a sitcom you already know. So Friends or Golden Girls or what have you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was in the middle of rewatching the Golden Girls. So I'm like, I'm gonna do a Golden Girls episode. I've seen the whole thing. I can come up, so I come up with the idea, and I'm like, that sounds like a good idea for an episode. I get Trembly, the software, the script software. Trembly is free, like we're talking about.
Right.
And I get a few pages in, and I get stuck. I got the idea in my head, but I don't know how to. You know what I'm saying? Whatever about putting the idea, the story here to script form, I glitch completely out. So kind of what happened is, how I got this book, how I got Novella Underground was I put this sitcom idea to the side because I was like, I had like a couple pages and I would sit down for an hour or two and get, a couple lines of dialogue or just a little bit of, leeway. And I'm like, I just can't get the idea onto the paper. So let me stop this and write something. I just need to get a flow going. And I was like, what can I write? Let me write some stories from the road. So I popped out a couple pages, what I thought was going to be a couple pages, and it turned out to be 6 or 7, like you were saying, So then I was like, well, shit, I could do a book out of these 3 or 4, stories that I started here. Then I ended up with the book. But the question is this, I guess, does that happen to you once you get the idea here? Does it stall out when you try to get it to script form, or is that just me?
No. That I've had that happen to me before. And what they said, they said, write a faux script to get that out of the way. I've heard that too, but I've also heard, if you got one idea, don't let that be your main idea. Write a couple of scripts to get your shitty ones out of the way.
Right.
Okay. And then that way, when you go to the one you want, you'll be able to write it good and all that. Or they say, write the one you want, put it in a drawer, forget about it. Write 3 more, go back.
Then do that.
Rewrite it. You got that. Like with me, I use Celtex, again, a free program. Mm-hmm. I mean, I found a loophole because with the free, you only get so many you can do. But the loophole is you download it on your phone, because if you go onto the computer and do it, they'll only allow you the free amount so much. But if you do it on your phone or tablet, they'll allow you to add more scripts. So I got like exactly. I got like 30 ideas in there at least.
Right.
I mean, some of them are series that I've got like a whole bunch of blank ones already waiting for me to fill out. Like I've got one series, I got season 1 written. I've got the special written. The season is 10 to 15 minutes long. No, 7 to 15 minutes long on the shows, and then the bonus episode is 30 minutes long. So it's kind of like okay, it can be a pilot of this, and then if it needs to go 30 minutes, it's got this.
Right.
You know, but it was also not my first one. So like,
and this is all in script form, right?
Right. It's all in script form. I got all of them written down right now, but there's one that I'm working on or actually 3 that I'm working on that I started and then halfway through.
Right.
Like what made me get on to that one was I was trying to think of something to do with this other one. But as far as what I was told, the best thing to do is kind of don't write the script yet. Write kind of like the story of it. That way you know where it's going to go, where it's going to end, and where you want to go with it. You know, don't have to write the dialogue unless it's some dialogue you got in your head that's like, okay, that's good dialogue. You want to keep that. You know, that way you got all that written down, and you're like, okay, well, there's my summary of what I want, and then you just pound it out.
Right.
I can't bring myself to do that because I get right into that, then I start going into script format.
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
But I mean, there's a college or a coming of age story kind of that I was trying to do a TV show for that I just ended up saying, okay, it'll be a movie that I was stuck on. And I finally actually did the sit down to where I wrote it all out. Now I lost the fucking book.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I was so pissed. Dude, I was throwing everything around in my desk, all my drawers. Dude, I was fucking mad.
So it's gone? You never found it?
It's gone. Like, if somebody found it, they got my ideas.
I've lived my whole life, like, not backing up shit and saving shit and iClouding shit and what have you. And, like, ever since I started, when I got, good 20 pages into a novella underground, I started backing up everything. It was like, I lose this and I'm fucking jumping off a cliff. Like, I'm not starting back over at 0.
Right. That happens to me a lot with editing. But cell text, they save when you're doing it, they save automatically after so many things. And especially when you're doing it on the computer, when you stop typing, it's saved.
Sweet.
And it also has a thing on the bottom to where it tells you have so much thinking time and so much writing time, where you've actually sat there and just typed for so long and you stopped for so long not typing. Right. So that's pretty cool.
Like that was something else that I was counting against myself when I would go to write. That thinking time, I would, okay, this is all the shit that I got in my head right now, and where am I going next? You know what I'm saying? And I would tell myself, oh, you've been sitting here for 10 minutes. You need to write something. You know what I'm saying? And like everything that I've read about, Stephen King and different how they go about their writing processes, it's like you kind of have to let it happen. Yeah, you force it, then that's not natural. Sit there and write nothing until the idea hits you, till something natural, organic. That's where the character's going next or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I had to learn that because I would be like, oh, I've been sitting here. I need to work. I'm not typing nothing. I need to get some words down, And now sometimes I'll sit here for an hour, 45 minutes ago. What would the character say after that? Or how would that character respond? And nothing happens. And then an hour later, that's what the fuck would happen. And then now I'm back on now the ball starts rolling again,
Right. Like, I've also heard, like, if you just sit down and write maybe 3 pages a day, every day.
Yeah.
In a month, you got a script.
Right. Yeah.
No matter if it's bad or good, don't look back, just write. And then once you're done, then you go back and look and do all the changes. Yeah. Don't think about what you already done. Don't ever go back and reread. Just take off where you
Put it
started
down.
from.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, I got a 300-word rule where I've kind of fell off of it the last week or two, but up until the last week or two, for months, every day I write 300 words. No matter how I feel, what's there, nothing, I at least put down 300 words.
You know what? I want to say Cell Text even has a book option.
Oh, really?
Right.
Where you can write the book and it puts it into script form, or how?
No, where it puts it into book format.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's got one of those. I'm not 100%. I want to say 75% sure.
Yeah.
But I think it's got one of those too.
Huh.
I might have to check that out. I know it's got a comic thing. It's got film, theater, and I want to say book. So.
Yeah, like this, it's it gets old sitting here typing constantly, but when the idea goes from I got this much of the story to just now you can see the vision. It's like, wow, like it's kind of goofy. The idea that I'm working on now is a comedy. It's something that I see. It's writing it in book form, but it's something I see could be a Netflix thing, or it could be a movie. And it's what I told my wife was, this is like King of the Hill meets Friday. It's kind of a stoner thing. They're growing weed, and I've got it set actually in Texas because y'all still have illegal weed. So if I set it in Oklahoma, it doesn't work because they're growing weed, but it's got to be illegal weed for the idea to work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, yeah, it started out as just this goofy idea, I'm saying, these couple of fucking characters, you know what I mean? And and then they needed somebody else to interact with. So I wrote this other character and this other character and this other character. And now they're real fucking people that I'm like, no, so-and-so would never say that. And so-and-so don't fucking exist except for up here. But it's like, she would never react like that. And we got to come up with a different, it's like, it's a whole real world going on in here that don't exist out there until I put it down, so the other people read it, then it exists for them too. There's something wild about that, you know what I mean? And these characters are like real to me. It's like, no, I gotta figure out a way to make him look better. I don't want him to look like, he looks too much like an asshole if it happens this way. I gotta, you know what I mean? Like, I love that. I love that part of the creating.
I was also told, like, make a rap sheet for your character.
Mm-hmm.
That way, later on how the person's gonna react.
Right. Yeah.
Like say a tough guy, later on the tough guy is eventually going to break down in a movie because he's a tough guy. That's how they all do.
Right.
But you got the tough, you got the tough guy mentality. You know how he's going to be and where his weaknesses are and what are some of the weaknesses. That's a good idea, but I just can't bring myself to do it because when I get to a character, it's like I already know everything about it. Right. So I plan on doing that when I go to recruit people for it, because that way they'll have information that I have in my head that they wouldn't otherwise know. But like, as far as sitcom goes, like that's kind of like what my 10-minute show is with the bonus.
Right.
But, and I've called it's my Cheers meets Clerks. But
that's dope.
When it comes to sitcom, I'm not really sure if there's a certain way to write sitcom. So I just wrote it as a show. And I think sitcom is how it's shot with the live audience, like multiple cams, so I think it's
got to be the 30-minute, the story starts and a commercial break and the story advances and then a commercial break. Then you wrap it all up and into the end of,
Right. You got to have it in certain sections and so much here. You got to have it on beat, Yeah. But that's how every script is supposed to be when you go to sell it and all that on beat.
Connected. Right.
So
all the kinks worked out. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, you wouldn't be in that situation meeting the right people if it wasn't.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of like, that's why I want to get a literary agent at some point, you know what I mean? Because I can only carry me so far, you know what I mean? Like in the music industry, I don't know a lot of people, but the potential is there. It's like, I'm in a Juggalo book club, group on Facebook, and that's it. Like, outside of that, like, I don't know how to get this book in the hands of normal book readers, you know what I mean? So it's going to take a literary agent to get me on that next level once I'm ready, for it.
Right. Or there's
Get outside of
PR.
my circle.
Get a PR person.
Yeah. Or something. A general manager or whatever.
Right. Now there's a story in your in the book about the Gathering '07. That was like the only one I was at.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
Like when I could tell something was up that day y'all left.
Oh yeah, when we left midday.
Yeah. I was like, something's up with that. But like I remember that show though. Man, that show y'all had everybody loud as hell under that tent.
Oh yeah, that night. Oh yeah, my set. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember being so upset, like, you know, when we got the layout and the lineups, and LeVay and Nasty and everybody had day sets, and I was like, this is gonna be, and I'm 2 a.m. and I'm like, 2 a.m. the first day? No way.
Right.
And then, it was a blessing in disguise, because it's probably the best visual show I'd ever seen. I remember right after, I guess I was gonna say Facebook, but I guess it's fucking MySpace. People tagged me in the little video. They took video from the audience or whatever. Right. And I was like, man, I need this for actual video, footage. I wish I could find some of that shit. I guess it's probably still floating around MySpace somewhere out there in the
I'm
MySpace
sure there's some footage out there somewhere. I know.
Probably.
Dude, wait, is MySpace even actually still up?
I don't know. I haven't even thought about that. I used to go there like periodically after MySpace was a thing. I would go check, and it was still there as of 5-ish years ago or whatever last time I went. But I don't even know if it's still there at all.
Dude, because I mean, with technology nowadays, you can go get a gaming computer and just like record your screen.
Go back with an archival, software or some shit. Find that shit from 15 years ago. That'd be awesome.
Right. But yeah, I remember me and Bloody, we were there for like half of the set. But we were more enamored that it was the first Juggalo thing we were at. So we're like, all right, we got to at least watch half the set before we do anything, So we're watching it, and then we leave, and we get to the camp where everybody's at, and lights out.
Yeah, yeah.
We sit down for a sec. We sit down for a sec, and we could hear everybody yelling during the "If It Ain't Riffraff" song.
Right.
Dude, that place was so fucking loud.
Yeah. You could hear it. I don't remember how far the camp was from the stage, but I remember the groups leading up to my set, and we were still at the camp. You could hear them, and it's close enough to hear.
Right. But dude, that night when y'all had everybody, it was loud because nothing was going on.
Right.
Dude, you could hear them for that whole area.
If you were up, that was the only thing to do. You know what I'm saying? That was the only thing on the whole campgrounds happened. So
right, if you weren't there, you heard it.
Yeah, right.
At least
I wish I had that whole set. I wish I had that whole set. On camera somewhere. Oh, we need to do, and I do it periodically. It's been a while, so I need to tap back in and do it again. EJ Ill, somewhere in his possession, has hours and hours of footage from the foundation and all them old school days and shit. He's got it packed in a fucking box somewhere he ain't seen in a decade or whatever.
Okay, so does Scott.
Scotty D or Psycho Scott?
No, Psycho Scott.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Scotty D has some footage.
Some too. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm thinking about putting a Riffraff documentary together.
Dude, you need all that footage. That would be awesome.
Exactly. Dude, I mean, I just need to get some archival footage, and then once I get a better camera than what I have now, which is my phone, because my other camera broke. So, and they're not cheap. I mean, I ain't got no money. I can't come out of pocket $1,000.
Right.
for a little bitty DSLR right now.
Right.
So I gotta save up a little bit, but then I gotta get once I get the things I want to do, I plan on going to every place I need to and doing interviews with everybody.
Well, you know what I'm saying? And here's what's fucked up. That last the Shy One McNasty show and stuff. I don't even know if you were in on this. I was going. We had the hotel rented and all that kind of stuff. My wife had a medical incident that day. She was in the ER. It wasn't life threatening, bad enough to be in the ER. So it's like, I can't, leave fucking town with my wife in the ER, even if she's not dying, So yeah, we lost the money on the, it was within the 24-hour, reservation period. So we lost the money for the reservations and all that shit.
Right.
But what I was gonna say is, that starts to happen, I'll come to you if need be. You know what I'm saying? Like, we looking for day trips, get the family out of the house anyway, so that'd be perfect. Come do a little interview in Dallas and hang out.
Dude, it'd be nice to do something like that than have like an actual riff-raff show again.
Yeah.
Like, the reason why I haven't tried to put one of those together is because I always thought it'd be best if we had all the riff-raff, all of them, and it wouldn't be the same if they weren't all there. And since some quit rapping and some, it was like, no, okay. Well, it doesn't look like it's going to happen then, you know?
Right.
Because it wouldn't be the same if not everybody was there. Because I had a plan for like a badass show to where like once the actual riff-raff crew started, it was going to be nonstop music. Kind of like talk to everybody to where like the first artist would come on, then transition to the next artist with like a duo song, and then just keep that going.
Yeah.
You know?
And
that was my idea for the next riff-raff show. Like, I had a whole plan for it, and I'm like, damn, I can't get everybody on. It's not going to be the show.
How did that show go last month or whatever it was? I saw people talk about it online, but this is the first time I've talked to anybody that was there. So,
I mean, it was a pretty good show. Of course, I mean, with everything just opening up really here, there wasn't like a lot of people there, but it was still a good show. I mean, the sound system was great. I mean, LeVay performed, and actually I was with LeVay and them and Chris when they were talking about, man, is Clay coming? I don't know. He just said his girlfriend was in the hospital in the ER.
Yep.
They thought you were joking so bad. Man, he's joking.
No, sir. And like it was like that day, it was like 3 p.m. and I'm like, man, like if something happens and she gets discharged or what, we still make it. And it's like, no, it's not. It's just not gonna fucking happen. You know what I mean? But like right for the last minute, I was trying to make fetch happen.
Right. See, it was like that back in the day during the I never made any of the foundation shows. You know, half of the reason is because something happened with me and G-Dub, and then the other half is on the Saturday they would happen, I'd be working here, but I'd get off at like I think it was like 9 or 11. No, it had to be 9. By the time I got out there, it'd be like 1 or 2. And since I've never been there, I didn't know what time the party ended. Yeah. So, because I didn't know.
You'd have missed the most, even if it was wild and still going on by that point, you'd have missed most of the fun by 2 in the morning anyway.
Exactly. So I never came out there. But yeah.
I remember you came to the Pink Eye before, though, right? In Tulsa?
Yeah, I've been out there once.
I thought I remember you coming to one of those.
Dude, the New Year's Evil show. So it was me, Scotty and Amanda, and G-Dub and Misty. And we were all in a room together. We were sitting there watching TV, and then all of a sudden our seat turns on. We got into a haunted room.
Oh, shit.
I mean, it wasn't the nicest hotel. It was kind of like okay, not surprising.
Pull the Bible out. Get the Bible out.
Let them know. Hey, let them know. Just leave us alone. Play with your water. Just leave us alone.
They can hang out. Just chill. Leave us the fuck out of it.
Right. Sit down. Watch TV with us. Be cool. So, OU football. You know I had to bring that up. Because how we always fuck with each other.
Right.
I had to stop after so long because, I mean, we can't win.
Well, what's really weird is my whole life, you know what I'm saying, I was OU football. There's very few things in my life that have been there like since I was born. My parents have always been there ever since I was born, and every fall OU football has been there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like a religion. Like, you grow up Catholic, you go to Sunday school every Sunday or what have you, and it's always there. That's like what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like I learned the sport before I knew what OU football was. It was on in the background. I learned what football was watching OU. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a religion to me. You know, or always has been. And ever since I had my daughter, it gets less. You know what I'm saying? It's less and less meaningful. Like, I still watch it, still pay attention. You know what I'm saying? Still follow it and everything. But I don't want to punch my fucking screen and have an actual fist fight with people over it, because 5 years ago, that was still me. 10 years ago, that was absolutely me. 20 years ago, that was, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like a religion, taking it way too serious.
Speaking of OU football, did you ever see the Brian Bosworth documentary?
Yeah, the 30 for 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was from here.
Yeah,
that blew my fucking mind.
Like what probably statistically speaking, whatever big famous OU football player probably came from Texas. Most of the OU squad gets recruited from Texas, because the state's so fucking big. You know what I'm saying? It's like Jamel Holloway, if you know who that is from Texas. Mark Clayton, you know who Mark Clayton is? That's from Texas. That's Class's homeboy and went to school with Class. You know what I'm saying? Like a bunch of our big stars are from Texas originally. Yeah.
Okay.
And that always messed with my mind as a kid, though, because OU and Texas hate each other, and I knew Brian Bosworth as a Sooner. You know what I'm saying? When I'm 7 or 8 years old or whatever, and then he would talk about I'd see him in an interview or whatever, and he'd say growing up in Texas, and I'd be like, what the fuck? You grew up in Texas? What are you doing? What are you playing for OU for? Because I didn't realize that was you could get recruited or whatever.
Yeah, he did not want to go to Texas. He fucking hated Texas.
Yeah, from the get-go, yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of people do, a lot of people don't. I mean, it's just, I got into Texas because I wanted to go there for baseball.
Right.
So it was kind of like, okay, I got to support my team. And then I wanted to go to Notre Dame, which I knew I was never fucking getting in. For my grades, I was never getting in. Then I realized I was never getting into UT either.
What's great about baseball is I've spent my whole life being a baseball hater. Like I don't like baseball. It ain't football. This is football country. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I mean? Like it's boring compared to football, and so fuck baseball. And then this year, my daughter got into softball the first year, and she's good. She clicks. She's a catcher. Like she's just 8. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like she learns. Like you can tell her. She knows what a forced out is, and most of them little girls on her team haven't picked it up yet. You can tell her something once, and she knows what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I've always hated baseball. I've never watched even a World Series. That I don't keep up with it at all. You know what I'm saying? And in the last 5 months, I'm watching MLB compilations on YouTube, and batting stances and tutorials, and so I can teach her. And like I'm consumed with baseball/softball in the last 4 months. I'm learning shit about the sport. I'm actually finally in my 40s appreciating baseball. It took me 40 fucking years to get here, and having a daughter get into it. But yeah, in the last few months, I've been all about baseball, softball. And I don't know how much you keep up with it. The OU softball team was super good this year. We won the national championship, set a bunch of records, only lost a couple of games. And so my daughter and I would watch that all season, kind of bonded over that or whatever. But baseball is, creeping up something I like. Scale, and I've never liked baseball.
I got my wife into baseball by playing the video game. She started understanding what the terminology was.
Right. From the game.
And then when I finally took her to her first game, she was ecstatic. She was like, I know what that means. I know what that means.
I know what's going on. in the softball league, my daughter's little league softball, they don't let them lead off. You know what I'm saying? You can't get off the base early. You know what I mean?
Right.
But one of the little girls was doing it. She kept doing it, and they kept having to reprimand her. You can't do that. You can't do that. And she said, but Daddy, I see you do it on your game. So she was watching him play MLB and picked that same shit picked up on him. Like, he did it on the game. Fuck, I can do this. I'm gonna do this. I can do that in real life.
Right.
So you're not in the major leagues. You can't lead off.
Do y'all have batting cages out there, or are they scarce?
They're pretty scarce, and the ones that we do have are like at a celebration station. It'll be like at a go-kart track or what. It's not like a batting cage, and it's just a batting cage. You know what I mean? Like right. I don't know that we even have any of those up here. They have one for like SNU, Southern Nazarene, is a college right over here. Right. They've got one for the team, and sometimes they let some of the high schools and the little leagues will get in on it. But we can't just go in there. And it's funny that you asked about that. My wife has got a thing at work tonight, and so me and my daughter are going to a batting cage later. And I think nice. we're gonna have to go to the go-kart place to get in the batting cage.
Yeah, that's around me. That's the closest one is a batting cage. Batting cages is at a celebration station actually.
Right.
I mean, there's one closer, but it's in a tin building, ran down. Like, no, you
Yeah.
don't want to be in that one. They've got
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the window units hanging out the side of the building. You don't want to go in there.
150 degrees. Yeah.
Right. But we got a couple of places here called D-Bat. Have you heard of that?
Mm-mm.
Those are indoor batting cages too, but they got like the nets and screens, like individual batting areas. You can have like actual pitchers in there and batting practice with pitchers, or you can have a machine.
Machine. Yeah.
And so I was like, holy shit, that's pretty cool. That's a fucking great idea. Why didn't people think of that? It's AC,
Right.
feels good, it's netted,
Right.
bartered off to where only certain people use certain areas. They got
Yeah, and
certain
you
areas
can't
to
tell
where
me
it's big enough for a team.
then in late summer when, you know what I'm saying, baseball's out and it's hot as shit, and you know what I'm saying, you can't tell me some of them cats that are in the off season ain't gonna want to come, you know what I'm saying, use the batting cages. You know what I mean?
Right.
Utilize that shit.
Exactly, especially out here. Speaking of hot as shit, let's go into something else in your book. We're not going to go more into the book because they got to read that and read the book
go
to
buy
get
that.
that. Exactly. But the Oklahoma gathering. So
Right.
before the whole lockdown and everything, or it might have been during the lockdown, that Dallas area people were, I think it was actually the government or the city was trying to petition ICP to come to Texas, to the Dallas area to do the gathering here. I'm like,
They weren't
great,
I
would love to, but that would be a nightmare for everybody.
Right.
It gets well over into the hundreds in August. That's my birthday month.
It's going to be worse than Oklahoma.
Oh my God, yes it will. Dude, that's a bad idea. As much as I wanted, it's a bad idea.
Were you at the Oklahoma gathering?
No, I didn't get a chance to make it.
Because it wasn't just hot. We hadn't had rain, so it was droughty and hot, which means every time the wind blew, dust. There was dust everywhere.
Man.
The first couple of days, they drove around with trucks that shot out water just onto the dirt to knock the dirt down. You know what I mean?
But that
and
shit
they
gets
started running out
expensive.
of water. Yeah, they started running out of water because they needed drinking water. So they quit doing that by day 2 or whatever.
Right. By day 4, it's completely dried up, and there's like, well, nothing I can do about it.
But yeah, but being an Oklahoma Juggalo, and if you read the book, you'll I kind of tell this story. They canceled back in the early days, late '90s, early 2000s. There was multiple shows I had tickets in my hands to for ICP. They just canceled. So at a certain point in my life, I had to travel multiple times to see them the first time. I had to go to Amarillo, Texas, to see ICP the first time. You know, so in my mind, Oklahoma was cursed, and ICP wasn't ever going to come here. You know what I'm saying? And so if you'd have told me then, you know, in 2015 or whatever year that was, you know, they're going to do a gathering here in Oklahoma City, I was, nah, that can't happen. That's not logical. That's not possible, you know. So I mean, the idea that they had one here is cool, but it was the worst one ever, or whatever, according to everybody. So,
yeah, when I heard that, I was like, wow, that's fucking close. I got to go. But work, I couldn't get away from work. And I'm like, I'm not going up there for the weekend. It's too damn hot.
I remember the last time I went, I said, I remember specifically saying, like, this will be my last gathering. Like, I'm old. I can't do this anymore. Unless they come and do one in Oklahoma City, which will never happen, I'm never going to another gathering. And then it happened. I was like, well, fuck, I guess I'm going. I guess. And it was really cool. I talk about it in the book, like the day before, when everybody starts showing up in the parking lot, everybody's, you know, on social media, oh, we're here, blah, blah, blah. I was like, fuck, I'm going down there. It's a 5-minute trip, you know, saying 10 miles across town or whatever. And I'm like, I'm going down there. I literally just get in my car and drive to the gathering and hang out for a few hours and drive home. It's like unfucking heard of. You know what I mean? I was like, this is the shit, you know?
Right. That's why I would want one here. But I'm like, no, don't have one here. I'd rather. But see, I never thought I'd be going to another one either. But my son has slowly gotten into ICP, and he's found more out about the gathering. And so now me and him have decided in 2022 we're going to go to the gathering.
Sweet. Bonding.
Yeah, he's going to take him and his girl, and it's going to be me and my wife. And we're talking about getting an RV.
Like, it's so crazy. I remember people, you know, saying that ICP's following is like the Grateful Dead's following. You know what I'm saying? And now 100%. There's no way to not acknowledge that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you and your son are going together. That's the shit that happens at the Grateful Dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up listening to this music with my parents. Let's go see them together. Now ICP's that old. You know, we're that old.
Oh my God, yes. And I feel it every day too.
Bro. Like I joked earlier about my 40-year-old stoner brain, but bro, I can't remember yesterday. I can't remember shit. It's bad.
Dude, I've got that same brain, but mine is gonna even just get worse because when I was 19, I got into a bad car accident. I tried to actually be Superman. I was thrown from a vehicle from the highway over the service road and landed in a parking lot.
Damn.
Yeah, the only reason why I was lived is because the officer saw me mid-flight and called it in while I was flying. Damn. Before I even hit the ground, they were calling it in.
So you had like, what is this, like severe head trauma or something from it?
Dude, I had broken right here. I got a scar right here that I've had ever since I've known you, because this happened back then. And then I broke my cheek, I think right here. And I was in ICU for 3 days, but I only remember like 30 minutes of it.
That's probably best. Just remember 30
probably.
minutes.
The weirdest thing of it, though, was I had an actual movie experience. You know, like in the movies when you hear like a grenade or something go off and then like the guy comes back into, and it's like, woof. Well, I was in the helicopter and I heard the helicopter go, woof, woof, woof. And then I finally just came to.
And you were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing? Because I felt something cold going up my leg. They were cutting my pants off.
Right.
And I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, you've been in an accident and I'm cutting your pants off. And then I just start spitting out my mom's information. Call blah, 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 blah. And then I pass out again. Next thing I know, my knees are getting bent. Like, I have half a kneecap in each knee.
Damn. Well, from what?
And it, like, literally woke me up yelling. I know that whole hospital heard me yell.
Damn.
That was the worst pain ever in my life.
That's crazy.
Right? The battle rapping. Like, I remember you doing... getting on YouTube, the vlogs in your book. I don't want to get into that. The book, go buy.
Right, go buy.
I remember when all that started happening. That was around that time when the Biggie movie came out, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Right about,
So speaking of which.
Yeah.
But, like, I wouldn't even thought Oklahoma would even have had that scene.
Right.
Like, at all.
So before we had like the organized battle rap scene, before I was a rapper even, they used to do hip hop night at a place called the Samurai Sake House. Right. And I remember hearing they do this hip hop night, and I was like, well, fuck, I don't know what they do at hip hop night, but I need to go check it out. So I went in there not knowing what was going to happen. And of course I knew what battle rap was. You know, two rappers try to out-rap each other, but I'd never seen it before. The only time I'd ever really seen rappers try to rap at each other would be at school. Two guys that weren't really rapping, weren't really rappers. They were just playing in the cafeteria. And it'd be like, right. You so fat, your mama this or that, just in rap form. You know what I'm saying? Kind of.
Right.
So I remember going to the Samurai Sake House this night, and it was 8 Mile. It was like 8 Mile. X amount of people sign up at the beginning of the night. They play a beat. You rap over the beat. One goes and the other goes. And it just being like, holy shit, this, competitive rapping, holy fuck. You know what I mean? 8 Mile's not even out. The average person doesn't even know what battle rap is. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, and from that point to that's the late 90s or early 2000s, and then probably 2006 or 7, another 5-ish or more years is when the league started happening. A cat named Ronnie Harris, shout out Ronnie Harris if you're watching, kind of put that together. Really, the reason Oklahoma City has a hip hop, scene and a battle rap scene specifically is Ronnie Harris and cats like Ronnie Harris. We have a tight-knit group of, of the essence of hip hop type MCs, you know what I'm saying? That take the art form of it seriously. So he started, he knew a couple cats that could rap and battle rap. And so he would set up these events, you know what I mean? And pretty soon we got a whole scene. And just like anything else, anything competitive you get together and do, whether it's boxing or basketball, even with this sparring with the same person over and over, you get better at it. So I remember after we've been doing this a few years, Tulsa got a battle rap league, and they had one guy that was really good, and none of the other guys were anywhere close to as good as that guy or any of the Oklahoma City artists. And it's because we had like a 5-year head start on the whole battle rap scene. So the whole Tulsa versus Oklahoma City, which is a kind of a rivalry here anyway, you know what I'm saying? Kind of got bad. There was no violence, but they wanted to fight us and we wanted to fight them over battle rap. You know what I mean? Because we were better than they were, and they weren't willing to admit it at the time. You know what I mean? And it's solely because cats like Ronnie Harris were early on the fucking battle rap wave and said, hey, let's do this. I like it. That's, you know, so I don't know how many other people will like it, but let's do this, you know? And now, but shout out to Tulsa, because at this point they've caught up and they're not lacking behind. There's a bunch of dope battle rappers from Tulsa at this point. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I would tell people, yeah, we're battle rapping in Oklahoma City, and that same thing, like we were talking earlier. Y'all hillbillies can battle rap. You know what I mean? Like y'all get off y'all's horses to battle rap up there. You know?
Right. You go a little to it in the book, but the two different styles of free battle rap is the freestyle and the written.
The written, huh?
Right. You go a little into it. What's the difference between a battle rap actual competition that's freestyle and written? Like, I always thought they were all freestyle. I didn't know there was any written ones until
at a certain
until you
point,
started doing the vlog, I think it was.
Right. I did a vlog back in the day on the freestyle written. At a certain point, there was a big emphasis put on freestyle for rappers. Like, that needs to be coming off the top of your head. If you sat and wrote it, and then the guy you're rapping against talks about your shoes and what you look like and blah, 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 you look really bad compared to the guy that's referencing freestyle stuff in the moment. So you could bring writtens to a freestyle because you would get eaten up by a good freestyle rapper. So most battles and things begin to be freestyle. So the average person thinks it's all freestyle. But if you listen to what's actually written and what's practiced as battle rap today, it's so complicated, it's impossible to freestyle some of that stuff. But the basic difference is this. It's two different skill sets. Both of them have their place in the battle rap world. Freestyling, the quality of the rhymes aren't as good as the written. A lot of times it's a lot more entertaining, though, because you're getting that you're fat, you look like this, your blue shirt, blah, 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 blah. Something the other guy just said, I take it and rebuttal, I flip it and make you look stupid for saying that. You don't get that with the written format. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But with the written format, what you get is, I researched and, you know, you screwed this other guy over, or you cheated on your girlfriend, and I'm going to expose that in front of everybody on camera. It's happened before.
Oh my God.
Let's see. Google, I think it's Jefferson Price, Caustic versus Jefferson Price. It's a battle in England. Caustic is an American, and they brought him over to England. And it's a whole thing. The kid was cheating on his girl who was there that night. And he brought it up. He had rhymes about it and everything. And it's real life. That's not just I rap better than you. That's I'm fucking your life up. You got to go home and talk to your girl about this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, shit.
So it's dramatic. You know what I mean? Like that.
Right. It gets deep.
Will bring out drama. And now, you know, if you expose me for cheating, I'm not going to keep rapping. I'm going to punch you in your shit. If you say the right thing that affects my real life, it's no longer just rap. So sometimes that happens. You get a fist fight. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I personally prefer the writtens because of that, because you get better material. You have time to write. You have time to research your opponent. Things they said in the past you can use against them, you know.
Right.
But I also like the freestyles because you don't get those, you know what I'm saying? You just said this, or, you know, you look like this, your shoes, blah, 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 like that impromptu in the moment stuff. You don't get that with the writtens. You know?
Right.
But like I said, it's the, you know, it's like fast pitch and slow pitch softball. It's a different skill, kind of the same thing. It's a different skill set, and both have their place. You know what I mean?
It's a whole different skill set
It's
when it comes to
definitely
that. So,
yes.
But now let's get on to the growing part. Okay, this is something I've always wanted to ask you. Ever since I saw you take a picture of your diploma,
right?
Weed school. What the fuck is weed school?
THC University. It's really just like an online course, just like anything else. You know, like I don't know. I'm assuming if you want to learn to weld, you can get online and take online welding courses. Now that means the knowledge is here. That don't mean you can actually fucking weld until you take that knowledge and weld. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. That teach you how to grow. Here's all the, you know, the elements and how the lighting cycle works and everything. And I remember, and I wanted to get into the industry. I wanted to get into the commercial, you know, and on with a commercial grow up here. That's why I took that, you know, got the little diploma, took those courses. And I remember people in the industry were laughing like that. People taking online courses aren't going to help you and blah, 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 blah. And it really did. You know, I don't know if it was the sole reason I got the job, you know, worked at, in the last 2 weeks, I've taken off for the summer. So I'm not with them now. I'm going back at the end of the summer. I'm doing daddy duty and things for the summer, writing I'm doing for the summer. But when I got on with them, I had a write up on Facebook, like, you know, this is who I am. I've taken these courses. I've taken these online workshops, and I'm hard worker, willing to, you know, wanting to get in the industry. And my boss actually saw that. And I don't know if the diploma was part of it or whatever, but, you know, it helped getting the job. And everybody was like, you're wasting your time taking that, you know, those courses and blah, 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 blah. And aside from that, I learned a lot of shit. I can grow at home with my license, Oklahoma medical marijuana state license. I grow at home. So that knowledge went into what I, you know, produce in my house, and it helped me personally, whether I was going to get a job or not anyway. You know?
Right.
But once I got in the industry, you know, don't get me wrong. I love growing marijuana. You know, I love being in the industry. But once you get in there and after a month goes by and the newness of, look at all this weed, you know, I'm growing wears off, you're farming. It ain't, you know, if you think growing potatoes or tomatoes is cool as shit, bro, then you'll like growing weed. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell people, can you get me in? And I'm like, go shuck some corn first. You know, have you ever trimmed weed for 8 hours in a row? It sucks ass. You know what I'm saying? Like if you know, it's just farming. So if you know that and still want to get in it, come on down. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, yeah, that's a misconception. A lot of people think that it's Cheech and Chong in there and we're just partying and smoking. And I'm like, no, we're harvesting and fucking, you know, farming in this bitch, you know.
There's more than just putting a seed into the soil and letting it grow. Yeah.
Especially in a commercial facility, because how much you yield and the quality of it, you know, affects how much the company makes, which affects how much they pay you. You know what I mean? So at home, you can just kind of put a seed in there and water it and just kind of wait and see what happens. But if that's your job, you got to get that, you know, as much of high quality out of it as you can possibly do, which takes work, you know.
I mean, you can put that little seed and make it, if it grows, it grows. But I mean, it may not be the greatest quality either.
Right.
You got to actually have a green thumb to actually do it.
I tell people all the time, people will ask me, you know what I'm saying? I get asked for advice all the time. And I tell people, if you're going to start growing marijuana, like at home, you just want to do it, grow a plant or whatever, see if you can do it. If you tell yourself, this is hard and I might fuck this up, so I got to attack every angle, you know, I got to research and stuff, it ain't going to be hard. But if you tell yourself, this is easy, I'm going to put it in dirt and just see what happens. It's okay, come on in. Family's here. We're going to have to wind it up soon. But anyway, but if you tell yourself, I'm just going to put this in the dirt and see what happens, then it's going to herm out. It's not going to grow. It's going to be a bitch. It's not hard if you tell yourself, it's hard, let me figure it out before I do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a couple of main things you have to get right, but once you get those couple of, you know, concepts down, it's not hard. You know, just like anything else, once you do it a few times, it's a skill you got now. You know what I mean? Right.
I got you. So since it's about that time, just go ahead and plug everything you need to plug. It's plug time.
I don't know. It's a big ass long address. But if you're on any of my social medias, you'll have a link to the book, A Novella Underground, Hip Hop Juggalos and the Journey. It's my memoir. Please buy one. You know, if you're into autobiographies, if you're into books, period, if you're into music, the Juggalos, if you're a Juggalo, it's a must-have. A lot of Juggalo history in there. If you are any of those things I just named, this is something that's going to speak to you. A Novella Underground on Amazon Books. Search it. Kindle versions available as well. I appreciate y'all.
I'll also get the link, and I'll put it in the description of the video and the audio podcast version of it.
Very cool.
All right, man. I really appreciate spending time with you, and you let me borrow some of your time finally. Appreciate it, man. Have a good one. And tell Amber I said, hey.
I will.
All right. Bye.
Planet Nothing Productions.